Okay, so I just went outside to get some herbs off of the front porch. This is oregano. This is a sweet oregano. Actually, this one is a type of, I think it's a Greek oregano is what it is. And I have a large bush of it outside. So if you can grow your fresh herbs, they're inexpensive, it's a lot cheaper. They're going to add a lot more to your cooking. So what I'd like to do now, I'm going to add these to my sweating vegetables. Don't they look lovely? Just going to do this, and this is all you got to do. Take them slowly and put them all up on there like that. And you can actually go ahead and grab a whole bunch more. But this is pretty much it. Simple as pie to get all of them in there. And I'm using the oregano because it's sweet. Now, you could use dry oregano if that's all you have, but you're not going to use as much as I'm using because dry oregano is far more pungent than the fresh. So if you don't watch out, you're going to have an overkill of oregano. So if you're using dry, remember, use like maybe half to a fourth of what I've just put into this fresh oregano. Okay, so we've got that all in there. I'm just going to stir this in there a little bit. Gives it a nice little splash of color. But it's going to completely blend in soon, so you won't even see it. Okay. So these are going to continue to sweat. And when we know that they're going to be ready, the onions are going to be virtually translucent. They're almost going to be kind of clear. It's going to go down a lot more in size. Everything's going to be white, basically. And the oregano is going to kind of disappear as it goes along. Okay, so next, another ingredient that you're going to need to do this, some good Parmesan cheese. This one here, you can get Parmigiano Reggiano, for those of you who know what really good Parmesan cheese is. Go ahead and make sure that you get hard cheese. Do not use the Kraft green bottle of cheese, the stuff that's already separated like that. No, it will not add the flavor that you want. Cheese, good Parmesan cheese, this is what's going to really give it the awesome taste that you want. And so it's best to just go ahead and invest, to spend maybe a couple dollars more on this Parmesan cheese. It will last you for a long time. It doesn't go bad very soon, and I use it on everything. So just go ahead and just buy these. It's actually cheaper than buying the Kraft green stuff. Okay, another thing that we're going to be using for everything today, I'm going to be using this particular type of pasta. For those of you who are looking for the low-carb alternatives, who want something that's more easily digestible, this one's really good because carbohydrate-wise, it has 38 grams of carbohydrates, but 4 grams of fiber and 10 grams of protein. So that is pretty high for pasta. And this is multigrain. I'm using Penne pasta. Another type of pasta that I like to use the bow tie pasta. Whenever you're using pasta and choosing which type of pasta you want to use, the key is depends on the type of sauce. So when you're using something like with ground meat, you tend to want to sort of collect the meat inside the pasta. So you want something that's got folds. In this case, like holes. Something that can sort of get the pasta in. You could use regular spaghetti, but it tends to not to be able to hold on to the meats more. This will allow you to get what's in the sauce inside of it more, so that when you take a bite, that's what it is. So that's the whole reason why you have all the different shapes of pasta. But anyway, this is good, multigrain plus, makes a big difference. Adds up to where you get a lot of freeze. Another plug for another company, Berea. Alright, so that's pretty much it. I've got my salted boiling water going on in here. And I made sure that the water is so salty that it would taste like seawater. So anytime you're making pasta, whatever your water you're going to use, start off with cold water in the pot, bring it to a boil, or at the beginning, put in a bunch of sea salt in there. So much so that when you taste it, like if you took a spoon and tasted it, it was salty, it'll taste just like the sea. And that's going to impart the salt that you would need in your pasta. And so that, therefore, make sure that your balance between your sauce and your pasta is just right, but it adds that extra flavor. So like if you taste your sauce, you get your sauce just right, you don't have to worry about, oh, well, I need to add more salt to my sauce to make up for the bland pasta. No, the pasta has its flavoring now because of the salt that's in it. So that's why you want to do that. Okay, so now we're just waiting for the vegetables to saute, and we'll be back in just a second. And welcome back. We're back with the sweating vegetables, and they should be done now. So this is what you want them to look like. Nice and limp, somewhat clear, just right. Get them in there. Just a nice little blending combination here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my heat up a little higher, because we're going to throw in our ground turkey meat. So this is it. So here we go. We're just going to throw that.
Isn't it dangerous to add raw meat to already cooked vegetables?
No, because it's all going to cook in together. I mean, basically, the whole point of cooking the meat is you want to cook it through until it's done. The vegetables are going to mix in with it, and then it's going to cook, if there's anything in there salmonella-wise, it will cook it all out anyway. So it really doesn't matter.
So why do they say you shouldn't add onions to hamburger meat until it's done cooking?
I always add onions into my hamburger meat prior to starting. It doesn't really matter.
It's an urban myth.
It's an urban myth. I mean, basically, the whole point here is that what you want to try to do is you really want to cook the ground turkey meat thoroughly. So our vegetables have sweat, but it's not going to make any difference. I mean, you're going to combine all these together. You're going to cook whatever it is, if there is a contaminant in the turkey, out. So I'm just going to go ahead and just mix that all together. One pot kind of thing. Okay. So I'm going to turn this heat up even more.
Doesn't look too yummy yet, but it will.
Kind of pink. It's not white just yet. Okay, remember,
How long till it turns white?
every step of the way, once it's cooked. Duh. So, every step of the way, we're going to do a little salt. Just a little bit, kind of cover the top. And now, we're going to add some fresh ground black pepper.
This is black pepper, right?
Black pepper. Good old fresh ground black pepper.
Does it have to be coarse ground?
Coarse ground's better because what happens is anytime you keep peppercorns whole, or any spice whole, and then you go in to grind it up, the flavor that's on the inside will tend to stay more inside and come out. But if you go ahead and you pre-grind a lot of it, it's kind of hard. The little particles lose their gutso if you don't use them pretty often. So if you can, always buy whole spices and then grind them up. Another way is to revive your spices is to saute them in a pan on their own to kind of bring them alive. That's kind of a trick that Indian cooks have used for centuries because they didn't always know how fresh their spices were. Okay, so a good amount of black pepper that I've covered it up with. Going to do white pepper. Again. Why? We're going to blend 3 kinds of peppers. So we've got all of the flavors combination in here going on with sweet stuff. We've got sweet leeks, we've got garlic, we've got sweet oregano. We're going to be adding sweet roasted peppers.